Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, SAP Change Automation for the DevOps Journey. After we go through the presentation, there will be time at the end to answer any questions. Please feel free to leave them in the chat throughout the presentation. And now I'll turn it over to our presenter for today, David Milano.
Thanks, Carly. My name is David Milano. I'm the CEO of REALTECH, located in Malvern, PA. And today we're going to discuss DevOps and the SAP, our SAP Automated Change Management Platform. The purpose of the webinar today is to discuss how DevOps for SAP can help SAP customers implement changes more quickly in their environments with our automated solution. Today's agenda will tell you a little bit about who REALTECH is, discuss a little bit about DevOps for SAP. Then we'll show you our REALTECH SmartChange solution, which is the automated change and transport solution that will help you automate more changes quickly for your DevOps journey. And then we'll do a quick demo, or we'll show a little video of how REALTECH can help in the DevOps methodology. And as Carly mentioned, we'll open it up for some Q&A. So REALTECH has been around since 1994, publicly traded in Germany. European headquarters is in Leimen, Germany. The North American headquarters is in Malvern, PA. We have over 2,000 worldwide customers using our solutions. We have presence in 4 countries: US, Germany, New Zealand, and Japan. Japan is there. And then 250 plus technical SAP consultants globally. REALTECH's US portfolio consists of the SmartChange solutions, which we're going to focus on today, change process management, which is the paperwork associated with change and release management, transport management, which is what I call the move machine, does all the proactive technical checks, collision and overtaker detection, critical object detection, and then as well as synchronization management, which is our dual maintenance retrofit tool that helps keep dual maintenance systems in sync when you're doing the 5-box model. We're really focused on S/4HANA and HANA implementations, really focused on OSDB migrations for the past 20 years. So with SAP's methodology of telling customers to move to HANA and S/4HANA, REALTECH aligns with SAP's message to their customers. Really also focused on helping customers do SAP upgrades or managed services for basis, as well as movements to the cloud. So helping customers move to Azure or AWS or Google Cloud. We're really agnostic with helping customers. We really don't, it doesn't matter which cloud you're moving to, we can help you move from an on-premise to a cloud solution. So what is DevOps for SAP? What does it mean? It means to intelligently modify best practices and methods and adapt them to today's requirements. Essentially, optimization for speed versus optimization by cost. So fast reaction on market resources versus slow by design. So in the past, when you're moving SAP changes through your environment, it was always very methodical and slow into quality, make sure it's tested thoroughly before it's in production. And there seemed to be a disconnect between the operations team and the development team. So with DevOps for SAP and using an automation tool like REALTECH, you're able to implement your changes faster, which means react to the market and the business quicker. So in the wake of digitization, SAP systems must become more agile, flexible, and faster. So on the left side, you see here that the customer requirements might be to how a startup reacts quickly to wishes or change conditions at any time, bring changes quickly and safely into production. which is huge, right? Lower the risk of changes that are moving into your production system. Some of the recommendations were development and operations work closely together to be more agile with others, with each other, but also with the customers and departments. And then the last one is integration and automation across all phases of change and release management. And this really equals DevOps achieves faster market reactions and thus more sales potential, which is great for the business all around. So some of the principles of DevOps for SAP. So agility in development, faster response to market trends and customer needs, fail early, learn fast. Result-oriented feedback prevents time-consuming corrections. SAP automation, automatic deployment according to a white or black list, sort of a critical objects list that's moving through your environment. And integration, synchronizing the available data sources improves IT processes and reduces redundant workload amongst the development team and also the operations team. So SAP organizations should no longer avoid the increasing demand pressure. So from the business, it's always ensure stability and reliability, make new business functions available more quickly, speed, flexibility, and short development cycles. All this can be achieved when you go towards the DevOps methodology. Instead of some of the other processes like we talked about that are slow, more testing in quality, more time to get into production. Just using the DevOps methodology will ensure a quicker time to production, and more development can be processed through your dev quality and production systems with, of course, automation. So the goal is more efficient cooperation between development, operations, and the quality assurance teams. For these special initiatives, or actually these goals, tools and processes are to be used together. So you can have the process, but if you don't have a tool, there's a disconnect there. So for us, it's about DevOps for tools and technology, right? REALTECH makes tools that help with the development side, the testing side, the release side, and the operations side. So our underlying goals are tools or solutions that we've built over the past 20-some years align with this DevOps methodology and help you automate your testing faster, automate the production quicker, automate the release into a solution that has workflow, auditing capabilities, so you're able to maintain the speed, but also lower the risk and maintain the quality of the changes that are going into the systems. So DevOps is essentially a more collaborative method of delivering applications where traditional organizational silos are replaced by cross-functional, multi-skilled teams that are focused on the business outcomes. Here we can see in an SAP development pipeline, you have your development where you're developing on multiple platforms. Then you want to technically test what has been released from development into your quality system. Then with our solution, you can import into your quality system on a 15-minute schedule, send emails to the right people. After it's in quality, then you have your functional testing. This is a copy of your production system, and you're making sure that everything is working correctly. And then actually the feedback portion is when it goes imports into production. So you're able to do all these steps with tools and processes, and REALTECH helps you go from the development stage to the import into production phase with automation. So how do we do that? We do that with our SmartChange solutions, which comprise, it has 3 modules. It has change process management, transport management, and synchronization management. Today we'll talk about SmartChange. That's a flexible SAP change management solution. So 3 different modules that are integrated. from a change process management standpoint, you can define your processes and your templates based on your process that you're doing today, built into sort of a Visio diagram within our Java-based application that integrates into our transport management tool, where this is really the technical move machine. It does your overtaker detection, critical object checking. We also have return code forecasting before a transport goes into the system or a change goes into the system. We can manage all types of SAP transports, ABAP, Java, HANA. It meets all your auditing requirements. So it's a one-stop shop for auditing. And then the synchronization management is dual maintenance retrofitting solution, integrates with transport management and change process management, and supports both workbench and customizing retrofits. They're all based off the IQ library. The IQ library is what I would call the central repository that keeps track of all changes on the object level, all versions of the object, all historical data, all users, all logical dependencies, and really tracks from the creation of a change before it becomes a transport in SAP all the way through into production and then into archiving or history. So this IQ library, we call it the SmartChange. It's a game changer because we keep track of everything really granular at the object level that's moving through your environments, and it's really helps our reporting and our auditing aspect, because everything is stored in there when either an outside audit comes into your company or you have internal audits. You can go right in and create the reports that you need. Speaking of reports, all the modules have their own set of reports, and they come with some standard reports, but also you can create your own ad hoc reports based off our tables, considering we have all the information stored in what we call our SmartChange server. The first module we're really going to look at is the change process management module. As I mentioned, it's a Java-based UI for modern look and feel. It has release management templates, change management templates, flexible approval workflows, very easily installed and configured based off of an Apache Tomcat and a web application with a WAR file, and then some web services connections inside of SAP. And we like to say it's a simple to use one solution for all SAP or non-SAP changes. This is just an example of some of the things that you can do when you do the plan, build, run methodology. So you can have a request that creates a CR. You can even put your estimates inside of change process management. You can see down here, this is where the change process management tool comes into play, doing these types of tasks. And then this is where the ABAP solutions come into play, doing these tasks down here. So some of the things you can do inside of change process management, you can coordinate your rollout activities, group all your changes, view the entire life cycle. On the change management side, you can create SAP and non-SAP change requests, enforce standard operating procedures. So the processes that you're doing today in your environment, we can automate those processes inside of a solution. And we know that if you're running an SAP environment, you have all different types of activities down the bottom here going on. Maybe you have some releases, you have some infrastructure changes, you have your weekly break fix activities, and you can keep track of all these different activities within one solution. Here, months. Okay, so here's just an example of some of the release templates that we have. We set up quarterly releases within our tool. Here's an example of some of the change request templates that you can have. You can have manual steps to keep track of them. You can have a standard break fix production change request, or your quarterly release change request that gets assigned to one of these releases. So there's two different types of templates. There's a release dependent request, change request, and a release independent change request. So one the release dependent really gets tied into a release up here and gets imported into production as a group, versus a independent request, which is it just goes from dev quality production as a standard change request. So all these activities are driven by a custom workflow. Again, it looks like a Visio diagram that we build according to your processes, and these activities are driven by the user and by the different roles who are in the workflow that are built. Here's an example of an email. We send emails with links out so you can approve. This is an example of our user-dependent dashboard that you can configure on your own that shows your next activities going in that's important to you that you can approve or that's going into the system next. This is a little example of the graphical workflow editor. We also have a release calendar, so you're basically able to plan ahead with your projects and releases, and everybody is focused on the same goals and objectives for those quarters. And when those change requests are created, you can assign them to different quarterly releases, as well as if you need to change one out before the release goes into the system, you're able to reallocate that change to a different or later release just by a couple clicks within the system. So that's really the, let's call it the paperwork or change request management. Now, we're really going to talk about the technical move machine, which is our transport management tool and one of our best-selling solutions. This is really the ABAP solution that does the moves of the transports, as well as sends the emails and the proactive checks within the system. So here's just an example of what it looks like on the ABAP side. You can have this independent of having the change management system on top of it, and just use this tool to manage transports. So we see a lot of our clients using ServiceNow or BMC Remedy to do their service or their change management tickets. We could also just implement this tool and do an integration between those applications, but you don't need both applications to use our solution. You can use them independently. A little bit about Transport Manager. We usually centralize that on Solution Manager. Flexible approval workflows, easy to install and configure. We don't rip out or replace anything that you're using within your environment today. We just build our own RFCs, our own user, and the transport management system is there. So it's a truly packaged solution that's just installed with a couple transports into your systems. Some of the key features: proactive collision detection, critical objects, return code forecasting, emails, automated emails, automatic imports. So we completely take your basis team out of doing these types of activities. It's all automated within our solutions. And the only time they need to be involved is when there's an actual problem within the system. Just a typical customer workflow that we see is maybe a release by a developer, goes into quality, gets automatically imported. There's a couple approvals into production, and then an automatic approval into automatic import into production. So we have some customers that have 2 approvals in the production. We have some customers who have 5 or more. So we can actually, it doesn't matter to us. We can have N number of approvals within our solution. Little bit about the collision detection. I wanted to show an example of that. This is when someone is approving a version 2 ahead of a version 1 transport. And this is the box that the approver would see. And they can go in and either send an email to the appropriate developer that, hey, we're approving in the wrong order. But the tool automatically detects collisions based on the reference date and time that the transport was exported, as well as the objects that are in the transport. So that's how we calculate collisions within our solution. Just a little example of sort of approvals or user groups, or how we build the workflow within both solutions. So on the transport manager side, we're more of a child to the parent relationship. The parent would be the change process management, and that's where all the workflow would be built. And then we can control the approvals inside of transport manager just by certain activities in the workflow that are built on the change process management side. So it would approve in the change process management, trigger an approval in TM, and then that would move the transport to inside the QA or the production system. We have a cross-system object monitor. So if you're touching an object on one development system and it's already been touched on another development system, we will flag you and let you know that there's some there's a cross-system object lock between the two environments. So you know ahead of time that the object has already been touched if you're using a dual maintenance landscape or a 5-box model within SAP. Here's an example of where you can actually dig deeper and see the object and what transports the cross-system object lock is happening on and where the transports are in your environment. Return code forecasting. This is a completeness check, so you're actually able to check the objects or dependencies within SAP transports before they go into the system, and you're able to do a return code scan to be able to see what's missing, where it's at, and what is needed for it to be a successful return code before it goes into the quality system or production system. Some of the other features, packages, you can bundle transports, create dependencies. We have certain attributes. You can create text, links, or attachments, repeating imports, rejecting or revoking, really tracking, granular tracking down to the object level. Also, we have something called import proposals. So if you have a transport with many objects and you don't want it to go in on the normal schedule, you can schedule it outside your window, say 7 p.m. for importing, or during a slow time that you want to import the request into the system. So this is just an example of some of how the architecture would look. We install everything on a solution manager system. Doesn't have to be, but we like that because the system isn't maintained that much. And then it has control of all the landscapes that are associated with it. Integration, talked a little bit about that. We have ServiceNow, BMC Remedy integration, really can integrate anything that has SOAP web services. We do that via some user exits and some SAP jobs, but coming soon is a new API that is pretty open-ended, and it'll connect to any outside application, so you could integrate your existing change processes or any kind of SharePoint site into our solution. Like to say our project approach is within weeks, right? You see rapid results within weeks. It's not months. So we implement the SmartChange, integrate some outside applications, maybe do some enhanced config and customization based on your customer requirements, and then we're off and running. You're live within 6 weeks. So we feel this is a big plus for our solution versus other solutions, where you're taking months to define your processes, and then taking months to actually build the application to get it to work correctly. And don't ask if you need any kind of changes after those 6 months of building the other application. It's a nightmare. So with that, I'd like to just close by showing a DevOps video that REALTECH has produced, and then we can either open it up for questions or close the session. So with that, I'll start the DevOps video. So we're good. Hold on 1 second. Great. Okay. Let's see here. I think we're finished from my standpoint. If there's any questions, Carly, we can open it up to questions or.
Okay, sure. If anyone has any outstanding questions, please just write them in the chat below or unmute yourself. All right, it looks like there are no questions, so thank you everyone for your time today, and I hope you learned the value that REALTECH can bring to your SAP landscape. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you.